Okay, so I took the paper template of the snowplow and I just taped it on with some 3mm Tamiya in 3 places. And what I do is I just trace the line of the paper template, but I don't cut through the tape yet. I just leave that because that'll hold this plate in place. You know, all a snowplow is really is just a big flat plate piece of steel, you know, willfully bent into shape. That's all, right? Okay, so now that I've cut that, I'm just going to cut through the tape, okay? I'll just do these end pieces. And if you're going to make any adjustments to the lines, now's the time to do it, like apart from your template. I just added a little more height on the shoulder here because it's going to roll. And it keeps this hatch rail above, like this section, like you'll see, a little more even. So when I do roll it over a drill bit to bend it into shape and flex it onto just a little angled footing piece, like I'll glue it to this. See, there's the angle. And then I'll just trim this to size and mount it right onto the front of the locomotive. So now, okay, and I'll just cut through here. I think I did the bottom here too, yeah, I did. This top one. And then here. You can tweak it up later. So if this comes off, that means you've cut through the whole piece. Yeah, okay, so there's the paper template, right? And I taped it onto 10 thou, and you can see now I can basically, oh, I missed a spot. Okay, so there's the paper template. Here is the plow plate. I can keep that cut out if I want that hatch open. I can glue it on there. And then these here, they can be flipped over and used as the MU cable hatches. And then they can be glued on as well after. So they're already done, see? If you cut on the line. Now what I'm going to do with this is, excuse me one second, is I'm going to take probably a drill bit or some round object like this. I'll touch it up with, probably should clean it up a bit just for the sake of the video. I'm just trying to show you the procedure. You can frame up the back of this for stability later, like once you glue it to the footing. Like, did I show you the footing piece? Where did it go? Yeah, so right here. Okay. So I'll just glue that on and then bend that, see? And then this part gets rolled. You just got to work it slow, and then you work it beyond what you want. And generally after it's painted, like once you bend it, you just keep bending it as it like it will spring back a bit, but you can see the curl that you can introduce in it. It'll stay, especially 10 thou. So you can start to get the curve in the plow there, see? And then I'll do this side as well. And then once it's all done, when you get it in shape, you glue it on place and you tweak it. And she's good to go. Okay? Scratch built snowplow. Okay, so I just want to give you a quick update on the snowplow, okay? So let me show you the 2 plows first. And I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but just hear me out for a second. So I'm a fine scale modeler, and there are many people like me. Now, you would look at this and you'd say, well, they look identical. No, they're not dimensionally. Like for one, okay, see the scale thinness of the plate compared to this one? See that? See how thick that is? Like, I just find that, like, parts that are on the end of models like that, like the front ends, rear ends of locomotives, are really important because that's where everybody looks. Another thing is too, like, even though this plow is pretty good, and it comes from, I think this plow is by, believe it or not, Cal Scale, because I compared the Cal Scale one. This looks identical. So if you look at, excuse my hand for a sec, if you look at the hatches here, like they're not even, like they're not triangular like that. They're actually almost rectangle, like they're a tapered rectangle, like this. See? So they're hinged here and they drop down and they just sit on the bottom part of the blade. So those are wrong and they're way too thick, okay? Once again, you know, I love to operate, but when I operate, I like models that I feel really good about. Especially when I go to the trouble to build them up like this. Sorry, but that's why we do it, right? Like all the RPM people understand that. So this part here, this hatch here, some of them had a bar across here and some didn't. And then sometimes they would leave this hatch closed and just run the main MU hose just flopping right over top like that. Sometimes the lead units would close these hatches, okay? Now, this one sort of shows a hatch. That's not bad, because that's kind of the way it is. But once again, it's like it doesn't have the curl that this will. Like I'm going to show you how to put the curl on the top here. Now, but before I do, this plow, when it sits on the front of the pilot, okay, try to get my head twisted around the camera here to see. Anyway, it sits too tight against the pilot like that. Like that's how it sat. And so my drawings and my prototype photographs say, no, it's not like that. I'll show you what it's like. It goes on, you'll run these hoses through these openings here. See how I added that piece on the bottom and I scraped the paint off? I'm going to weld this on. So that is the way the plow sits. It's raked like that, forward. Okay? So that's prototypically correct. Now, once again, you know, if you're that kind of discerning modeler, that's what we like to do. And it really makes the locomotive look the part. Like this, I want people when they look at this to say, oh, that's 720. You know, in 1989 or 1990 or something. So, okay, so one more thing. Now, what you need to curl the top of this blade is a pair of orbital pliers like this. Okay, see the taper in them? It's almost like they're made for this particular snowplow BC rail. So I'm going to grab this like this. Okay. And I'm going to just roll it. And you notice how I save this for last because there's stability built into the, see there? See the curl? So you just got to work it, like you just got to be patient. Evergreen plastic is really nice stuff. Like it does have a memory after a while if you keep training it, I find. And I just want to roll that over way slowly. And if you're really gentle with it, I've never had many problems where it breaks. If it does, it's probably too cold. So you can see there I'm rolling it over. See that? So now it changes. See how it's changed? It's changed the profile. And I'll show you a photograph. I got this off of the archives just by Colin Arnott. Here's the front of the pilot for 720. So you can see that it's, see how close it is? I just got to curl the top more. But you get the idea, right? Okay. So that is the idea, and that's what I'm working for. And then I get to paint this. I can probably paint this separately, or just weld it onto the model and paint, and then repaint it yellow with the airbrush, because this will all get weathered nice. It'll be really nice contrast with rust and weathering. and so on. But really liking the front end now, how she's turning out. Okay, so there you go. That's the snowplow. You can live with this. This, like, it's a really good version of it, but this is more along the fine scale version right here, ones that you make. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wet this. You know, you could actually, I mean, I know I could paint the whole locomotive by hand like this. Just, you don't really need the airbrush. The airbrush just saves so much time though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a wash on there like this. I'll sort of tone down some of that yellow and then fall into some of the cracks and dents and so on. I really like the way this snowplow turned out because it was made of 10 thou. It buckled a tiny bit. Like, it's hard to see really, but like it really looks the part. I put a little bit just down here where the rust would run from underneath this hatch, the MU hose hatch. It would run out underneath there like that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So now when you do this, I'll just say this, like, don't turn it upside down or anything. Like, set it up like this so it dries like this. Because the one thing about waterborne acrylics, when you're using water to you know, suspend your pigment in a certain way, you almost need to, here, I'll just grab it. Oh, you almost need to, you know, support it. Just trying to do things in the moment here. Okay. Oh, see. Oh, there. Okay, that'll work. Okay.